Hi again. Walter Rauschenbusch, page 220, Christianity and the Social Crisis. This subhead, after his discussion of the effects of the Industrial Revolution, this new subhead is the land and the people. Next to life itself, the greatest gift of God to man is the land from which all life is nourished. The character of a nation cannot be understood apart from the country and climate in which it lives. The social prosperity, the morality, the rise or decline of a people always fundamentally depend on the wisdom and justice with which the land is distributed and used. In our country, that is America, the land in its vastness and abundance, its variety and wealth, has been one of the most sanitary influences in our national life. The massive independent farmers have been and still are the moral backbone of our nation. The embattled farmers won our independence and formed the incomparable armies of our Civil War on both sides, just as the marvelous army of Cromwell was composed of the sons of English yeomen. It was our land, fully as much as our institutions, which absorbed and assimilated the mass of our immigrants in the past, and formed an automatic safety valve for the overheated machine of our commercial and political life. Our system has been to distribute our farming land in severalty as the private property of the family which tilled it. This system has doubtless been of great use in the rapid settlement of our country. It has offered the individual every incentive to improve his land to the utmost, since it belonged absolutely to him and his descendants. It is often asserted that the secret of our prosperity lies in this private ownership of land, in contrast to the land communism prevailing, for instance, in the Russian village community. It is overlooked that our method of assigning homestead claims from the public lands has in fact been a kind of gigantic communism in land. Nearly all ancient communities with which we have historic connection recognize that the community is the real owner of the land. In the old English village, the woodland and pastures were common to all. The meadowland was divided only till the hay harvest was over and then was common once more. Only the plowland was permanently divided, but subject to fresh division as new claimants were admitted to the commune. Only those entitled to a share in the common land were citizens with full political rights. This institution is one of the marks of the Aryan race and underlay the freedom and virility of the people. It was disturbed and destroyed by the same influences which sapped the primitive self-government of the people. Large remnants of it persisted down to our day in Europe. Previous to the Industrial Revolution, vast tracts of common land still existed in England. The poor man could build on it free of rent and could till patches of it and pasture his sheep or geese. In our own law, the principle that the land is the property of the community, a principle which has all good sense and political philosophy on its side, is still embodied in the right of eminent domain. The state can condemn private property for public uses, because the community has a latent and superior right in the land, which may at any time supersede the inferior right of the individual. But in general, our law treats land as private property. This institution is of comparatively recent origin. It is due mainly to the influence of Roman law. Rome, too, in the early days of its strength, had communal ownership. The herds were pastured on the public land, ager publicus. If new land was conquered, the younger sons got their allotment there. But gradually, the wealthy families crowded out the plebs rustica. They took the lion's share of land conquered. They turned their great herds into the common pasturage. They used their political power to suppress the popular demands for a redivision of land and for a maximum limit of landed wealth. Gradually, they established ownership in severalty and fortified it by law. Then they sucked up the small estates and undermined the sturdy peasantry of Italy, which had made Rome great. 6 persons at one time owned the whole province of Africa. The great historian of Rome sums up the pernicious effects of this system in the terse sentence, latifundia perdidere Romam, which means the great estates have ruined Rome. This system, which was the result of the ruthless displacement of public rights by the strong, and one chief cause for the decay of Rome, was of course embodied in Roman law. That body of law was the product of a refined civilization, and in precision and subtlety was far superior to anything the medieval nations could produce. For this reason, and because it always magnified the powers of the ruling class, it was profoundly influential in the later development of law. Thus, the conception of property rights, which had helped to kill the empire, passed to other peoples, and everywhere strengthened the hands of the strong and limited the communal rights over the land. It was as if a rug of exquisite weave had been taken from some village devastated by cholera and had been carried with its deadly infection to another city. Our national homestead system was like the old village commune in allotting to everyone who asked for it, in good faith, a sufficient portion of land for the support of his family. The land set aside for the support of the public schools and the fund accruing from the sale of public lands were further communistic features. The salutary element in our system was not so much that the owner owned his land so absolutely, but that the land was so evenly distributed among the people and was so accessible to all who were able to use it. Put a link into an earlier chapter, beginning of the book, Rauschenbusch, on the significance of the land distribution in Israel, the Jubilee system.